AutoNation's monthly sales report rolls into town. The nation's largest retailer out with some new sales figures. The company's CEO, Mike Jackson, joins us with the numbers and his outlook for the auto industry.
AutoNation's Mike Jackson with the company's latest sales results and his industry outlook.
All right, this morning, AutoNation, the country's largest auto dealer, is releasing its June auto sales numbers. And joining us first right now on CNBC with the results is Mike Jackson. He's the chairman and CEO of AutoNation. Mike, good morning.
Becky, good morning. How are you?
Good.
Joe, did you see any nice European cars you'd like to bring over here?
In London, Mike, there's a lot of oil. I mean, not to be politically incorrect, there is a lot of oil money in London, and there are a lot of Ferraris and a lot of 911, a lot of Porsches, and a lot of cars that have a lot of Bentleys,
a lot of Rolls Royces and Bentleys.
There's some serious cash, and but then once I got to Paris, there was one point where we were sitting there at one of those cafes. 8 cars went by, not one of them was bigger than this. I swear, not one of them. And they were all different models and makes. You got one of those too, though, don't you? Because in case you're recognized down there in South Florida, you're driving a small one. I know you.
I love my Fiat 500. It's just great. Fits right in.
Hey, Mike, how did sales go for the month? It was not a bad month for June.
No, we retailed 16,500 vehicles, which is about even with May. That's up 3% from June of last year. But, of course, June of last year was nothing to brag about. And if you look at the brand mix, it's about as expected. The Japanese brands were down about 9% for us. Strong performance by the domestics, up 18%. And strong performance in premium luxury, up 11%. If I look at our geographic footprint, we struggled in Florida. The economy here is still not recovered. We still have housing issues in Florida. And California was tough. There's a sales tax change where customers can save about $300 to $400 by waiting till July. And just to show you how sensitive the market is, we have a lot of customers waiting for July to save $300, $400 in taxes. And if I look at the total industry, June had the worst selling rate of the year. And, you know, we talked months ago that I thought June and July would be about the worst with the big production disruptions from Japan.
Is that why imports were
transitory?
Yeah, is that why the imports were down 9%, the imported cars, because it was just you didn't have the supply?
Absolutely. There's a significant inventory shortage with the Japanese, which has caused all manufacturers to a certain extent to pull back on marketing, pull back on incentives. Transaction prices are higher. The consumer is pretty savvy. The media is telling them wait until the situation improves. The good news on that coin, though, is production is coming back online with the Japanese. Shipments are improving. Nissan is already in pretty good shape, and we expect Toyota and Honda to follow July through August. And we could be back to normal marketing in the August-September timeframe. And I expect a pretty strong close to the year with a selling rate on a monthly basis moving back above 13 million units in several months.
You know, Toyota just came out with another financing incentive, 1.9%, I believe, just rolled out a couple of days ago. If they're having trouble filling in things, why are they offering any incentives at all?
Because they fixed the production issues. It's back online. The shipments are underway, and they know they can't wait until the products totally arrive to kick the marketing back in, because there's usually a 30 to 45-day lead time between the time you start marketing activities and the full impact comes in the marketplace. So it's totally appropriate at this time to say, hey, production is coming back online. The shipments are underway. Come on into your Toyota dealership and talk about buying a vehicle.
You know, we had heard about how some of the domestics were also going to be affected by this. Alan Mulally had told us Ford was facing some potential shortages from the parts that they rely on. Are those all cleared up at this point, too?
Well, the domestics have quite a good story to tell in that they took 50% share in the month of June. Who could have thought of that? And they've had issues around configuration of vehicles and certain equipment, but the total number of vehicles that they're able to produce, they've still hit their production targets. So they've done a pretty good job of managing the disruption.
So Mike, I know you. You go and talk to the Atlanta Fed, things like that. What do you tell them about the economy from where you're sitting, and because Florida is important, obviously, and you're the biggest company in South Florida, maybe all of Florida, right? Anyway, was it a transitory soft patch that we went through, and it's going to get better? They're right about that?
I think in principle what I say is that we have a fragile economic recovery, that if there's any sort of disruption, it has an immediate impact in the marketplace. And what we're going through now is very reminiscent of last year, where we had a pretty good recovery going away, and then we had the flash crash and the euro crisis, and all of a sudden the economy went sideways. Same thing here. Who could imagine that an earthquake in Japan could throw the U.S. economy off stride? But it's a fragile recovery. We still have a way to go that it's sustainable. I don't see a double dip coming. I really believe these issues are transitory. We'll be underway on a better recovery later this year. But don't underestimate how fragile this economic recovery is.
Even the housing issues in Florida, too, Mike?
Housing issues in Florida continue. What we do see at this point is a bifurcation in that the distressed sales, which are still a significant part of the market, there are steep discounts. Everybody's come to reality. But if it's not a distressed sale, if the seller is in a good position, the prices have firmed up. That wasn't the case a year ago. All prices were going down. So it's just a matter of maybe another year to clear a significant portion of the distressed selling, and you're going to have stability around housing prices, which is going to be very welcome across the country, particularly in a state like Florida, and that will be another leg for this economic recovery.
Okay, Mike, it's great talking to you. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Joe, good to have you back in time for the 4th of July.
Yeah, I was, and it was good to be here. It's great to come home, that's for sure, Mike. Thank you. Thanks for coming on.
All the best.
Okay.
Bye-bye.